Alright everyone, today we are going to talk about circles. This is the basics of circles. So let us begin by calling this circle circle O. And so that's the center, and usually you will see the name of that circle next to that center. Let's call it circle O. There are a few words that we have to discuss, a few terminology. For example, what is radius? Well, radius is a segment that goes from the center of the circle to the edge or the outside of that circle. So anywhere from the center to the edge of that circle, we call that segment radius. We call that segment the radius. Typically, you're going to see an R, italicized R, that denotes radius. The double radius, or if we double radius, we get what we call diameter. And diameter is basically a segment from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center of that circle. So we call this the diameter. And again, diameter will always equal, diameter is always equal to double the radius. So double radius. Then we have a chord. A chord is a segment from one side of the circle anywhere to the other side of that circle. In this case, it could be through the center, or it does not have to go through the center. We call that a chord. So this is a chord, and the chord could also be the diameter, but just know that the chord does not have to go through the center of that circle. So that's another chord. So we can call this chord A, C, we can call this chord D, E. Alright, and this diameter here could be X, Y. This diameter is also a chord. Then we have a tangent. So the word tangent is basically a segment that touches the outside of that circle. So it barely touches the circle, and so we call that, we can say it's a tangent line. In this case, it's tangent, or we can say it's a tangent segment, depending whether it's a segment or if it's a chord, or a line, excuse me. So in this case, this right here is a tangent line. All right. Then we have what we call a secant. All right, another terminology. Secant is, it's a segment or a line that passes through, it passes through the circle, and basically it intersects the circle on two different locations, or two different times. So in this case, we have this line, it's intersecting the circle at two different points. Thus, we call this a secant. All right, a lot of words here. We're almost done. There's two more vocab words we have to go over. And these are called the internal, and external tangents. And let's spell this correctly, internal. So basically, if I have a tangent that touches two circles, like that, going through the interior of both circles, we call this an interior tangent. So interior tangent. Well, what's the difference between that and an exterior tangent? Well, the exterior tangent does not go between those two circles. It's just on the outside. So this right here, it's what we call an external tangent. All right? Almost done, guys. Almost done. So anyways, we have the internal tangent and the external tangent. And the last piece of today's lesson is what we call an arc. All right? An arc basically is a section of this circle. So this right here could be arc AB. Arc AB, referring to this section here of that circle. And we know that whatever this center angle is, so let's say this angle here, let's call this angle ACB, whatever this angle is, let's say it's 60 degrees, this arc will be the same. It will be 60 degrees. All right, so this is arc AB, and arc AB has a measurement of 60 degrees. The outside arc, and by the way, this is the minor arc, and the major arc will be everything on the outside over here. And we know that a full circle is 360 degrees. Well, this minor arc is 60, so therefore the exterior arc is 300 degrees. All right, so this is really just a list of basic terminology that you will need for today's lesson on circles. Hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any additional questions.